Whew. Wowee, holy crap. I never expected to be returning to Starfield only 1 week later. But honestly, there's something we need to talk about. I was wrong. Like, super wrong. I made a huge mistake posting last week's video, and I want to tell you all why. You probably didn't see my video last week, but you may know that I originally was not hyped for Starfield. And with it releasing recently, I thought I would release a video on it, of course. But honestly, I wish I did not do that because I was wrong with so much that I said in that video, and I want to rectify it here. I said that the game was mid, but after giving it a good amount more playtime, I realized that I had missed so freaking much, and I was absolutely crazy thinking that 3 days was enough to make a decision on a game like this. I want to explain every reason I was wrong, and the other things that I have found that made me actually fall in love with this game. But without rambling my head off with this intro, let's get right back into Starfield. So yeah, that is right. I'm actually high-key really upset with that video that I released last Friday. Not because I think the video was bad, not because the views are not what I would like, not because I have been stuck at the same sub count for the past 2 weeks. By the way, please hit that like and that sub button to get us past 600 and get this video flowing through the algorithm. But no, I'm not upset because of those things. I'm rather upset with myself and the fact that I think the video I made was an all-out mistake. Now I know you could say, why don't you delete the video? Why don't you unlist the video? Because no, I posted that video, it's out there, those were my thoughts at the time. Now you could ask, why do I dislike that video so much? And why do I think it was such a mistake to make? There are quite a few things that I said in that video that I've actually fully changed my position on, along with all around missing so much that would have swayed my final decision on the game. With a game like this, you can't just give 10-20 hours and give a verdict on it, in my opinion. You know, that's probably what I'm gonna do with Payday 3, let's say, because come on, it's not like a game that's gonna be packed full of hundreds of worlds and a Kool-Aid Jammer Jammed packed story. So I think I can get the gist of that game quite quickly. Starfield though? No. Within the first couple hours of playing after the video posted, I started finding new things and learning and experiencing actually engaging stories that aren't even the main storyline. But as I kept playing, I have to say, I've honestly fallen completely in love with this game. I really should have given it more time because I feel like the tabloid game reviewers that I despise so freaking much. I put almost no real time into the game, and I have a completely lackluster review off of only the first few hours. And it was honestly, as I said, a mistake of a video. But I'm here to make things right. I'm here to say that Starfield is amazing, and I want to bring up some of the things that I missed out on in the last video, and the things that really made me change my mind. I also want to say that even my fiance has fallen for the illustrious Starfield. She saw me playing and like your little brother on the couch asked if she could have a turn, and when she started playing, she played for hours. She played so much, in fact, that I ended up buying her her own copy so that I could keep playing. But with all that aside, let's get into why exactly I started to fall in love and why I might take back that statement that Starfield could not possibly be my new obsession game, because I think I'm obsessed. I also want to say I'm going to leave out all of the things that I brought up in my last video. So if you see anything missing that you really enjoyed about the game, or even didn't like about the game, go check out that last video because it might be there. So the things I missed. I will say right off the bat that there is so much stuff to do in this game. Some right in your face, some so hidden that you would have to get arrested in a specific city on a specific planet, and it all takes so long to experience everything. I'll just start off with the amount of lore the game has. And I'm not talking about storylines or quests. I mean that Bethesda understood that they were making a whole new game, and so creating a whole new universe without any lore other than what we call our history. And they really knew that they had to fill that universe with reasons that the things are the way that they are. From how the Crimson Pirates came to be, or why no one lives on what is now a desolate and uninhabitable Earth. And with the absolutely lore-packed games in Bethesda's past, it would be expected that they would not let us down here. And let me just say, they really did not. In fact, I think that they went above and beyond. Some will get that's a reference to the game. But talking to even bartenders, you could learn something about the House of Varun and their mysterious serpent-praising ways. Or, as always in Bethesda games, find notes and stuff in the form of datapads and computers to expose letters and conversations that tell of hundreds of years of life in space. And I don't want to spoil any of the bigger story points, but definitely go join the UC Vanguard, and do not skip the Orientation Museum at the beginning of that questline. You'll learn so much about the game, starting from the downfall of Earth, or the xeno-warfare in Londinian, and even the separation of the UC creating two new sovereign nations, the Freestar and the House of Varun, both sporting their own weird behaviors and rules. But you will have to learn more about all of that yourselves. And I know I said I wasn't talking about the story when I mentioned lore, but on the topic of story, there is so much to find throughout the galaxies. Like, I'm just gonna say, I'm already part of the UC military. I'm a senior operative of a whole company on Neon. I saved a mine on Mars from spacers. I stopped a scary old world xeno-alien. And so much more. But I feel like if you're not busy building ships, decorating outposts, flying around, making food, meeting new people, blah 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 blah, and you just focused on the story alone, you would still have so much fun. But on to the stuff aside from the story, and onto the topic of building and decorating. I want to say that there is so much stuff to build on so many sides, but I will start with the ships. At first, I looked at the shipbuilding for a little bit, and I looked at how many ships you could buy, but really, I didn't know how in-depth it goes. There are so many different parts to choose from, with so many different categories, and with all of those parts, they're all sold by companies. So you would have to go to those places with those companies to get those specific parts made by those specific companies, which you might say is inconvenient, but I say is realistic. And if you have such a problem only getting one type of part in one place, go ahead and join up with the Crimson Pirates and take advantage of their sketchy full range market, also probably being able to find some modules to hide the illegal contraband that you're smuggling. And yes, there is some stuff that is illegal on some planets, but legal on others, and you will be scanned entering some planets to see if you have that contraband. Back to the shipbuilding. I spent like 2 hours trying to figure it out, and honestly, it is kind of annoying to figure out. But damn, once you get the hang of it and get that ship built, it is awesome getting to walk through it and observe your behemoth from the outside, and then getting to fly it through space. Still on the topic of building, but off the topic of ships, I love the outpost building, and once you figure out more about it, it gets so much better. Sure, the rotate and placing is finicky, and there's a few little issues here and there, and I hope that they fix it with an update soon. And I know that I touched on this before, but I just did not really realize how much there was. I didn't know you could set up machines to get resources. You can set up landing pads. You can cycle through different variations of the buildings and the stuff and the decorations. And on the side of decorations, there's a good amount of things you can decorate with, like beds, sofas, and tables. And I also had no clue that you could research new stuff to build for your outposts, unlocking so much more. And onto the topic of research, researching lets you unlock new recipes, outfits, weapon mods, and it goes so in depth with a whole lot of stuff to research and unlock. Like cooking. I love games that let you cook, and I love games that have amazing looking food. And Starfield does not disappoint, letting you craft so many different food and drink items, even chems and medications. You can even find recipes in the wild that let you learn even more. That not enough? There are perks to learn even more food stuff. And honestly, all of the food and meds you can craft makes me think of the next thing I did not even think about when I was playing the first couple hours, which is the role-playing capabilities of the game. And that is crazy to me because I search for role-playing in most games, if not almost every single game I play. And I missed so much in Starfield. And honestly, I might be all over the place with this one because there's so many things that make Starfield one of the best, if not the best, role-playing Bethesda game. Right off the bat, all of the food and all of the cooking. With all of that, there's buffs and effects that come with that tasty looking food. And there's even some illegal substances, as I said. The illegal substances and smuggling also really helps the role-playing. I have found like illegal heretic writings, alien bioweapons, black market goods, and I stashed them all away in my house. My girlfriend found some drug even that's illegal on some planets and illegal on others. Another thing that I've recently experienced that also just helps the immersion and role-playing is all of the sickness and actual damage that can be done to you. Like, I know that Bethesda have been putting sickness in for a long while, with people in Skyrim always telling you that you look sick and like a dog, but Starfield actually takes it a step further. Different planetary atmospheres have different conditions that come with them, whether it be sun damage, actually burning your skin, or a sandstorm, actually damaging your airways. And even certain hits to your body can cause dislocating and broken bones. Then when these things happen, they don't just fade away after a couple of seconds, and it isn't just a label to scare you into healing. And you better not think that the average health kit can fix everything. You have to find the different meds you need, or craft them, or buy them, or just head over to a doctor and get yourself fixed up. I mean, come on, that adds a good level of immersion, and I totally could have seen Bethesda or any other company saying, "You have a spacesuit, so you're fine to all the conditions." But they didn't. Then there's just the rest of the game, which you can just play out like you're living a life out in space. And really, the only thing that gets in the way is the constant fast traveling. But off of the topic of role-playing and immersion, I want to talk about a whole point in my last video that I want to take back completely. And that is that the creatures and aliens are basic and generic. I said that they all seem generic and all honestly not interesting, but after seeing more planets and fighting some actual freaking Xenos, I will say that they might be generic in design, but in my opinion, there are so many different types of aliens, both hostile and neutral. Along with that, they have facts and a slight bit of lore behind them. I feel like this backs up the point that I needed to give the game more time to make decisions on some things because it would have taken hours, no matter what, to find some of the creatures I've seen. And on top of that, there is still so many planets to see. And honestly, on to my last point that I didn't really have an issue with before, but it was just another one of those things that I missed and didn't even think about. That is the amount of cities and villages in this game, which again, is one of those things that I don't think I have even comprehended yet. In Skyrim, there are like 15 cities, including smaller ones like Riverwood and Dragon's Bridge. In Fallout 3 and New Vegas, there was probably 5 or 10 or so, but don't quote me on that. And in Fallout 4, there was 2. Yes, 2. Good Neighbor and Diamond City. I guess you can consider Vault 81, but that's like the only other thing that was a city or village in that game that wasn't just a small tiny settlement of settlers. But with Starfield, it's so good to be able to land on a planet after a good amount of playing and still end up seeing a new city or even small settlement. Some even having like sub-cities below and above the main ones. It is honestly crazy. Like thinking that there is one weapon dealer in the basement of the city that sits below the megatropolis on the one planet that shares the same star with 5 other planets. That is huge when you actually think about it. And it takes a good amount of time to actually comprehend it. And that is why I say I should have given this game more time. But honestly, before I get too hyped up and rant about more things that I probably ended up talking about already, I want to shift this video over and actually talk about a few more things that I've noticed on the negative side of things. So this is going to be a way shorter point of this video, as there is definitely not as many points here. But there were still some things that I've noticed on the negative side. The reason these things are shining so bright to me too is because of what I've been hearing on the interwebs about the same topics. Right to it. I've been seeing a lot of stuff about how this game barely has any bugs, and there is no issue when it comes to performance. But that is honestly not true. I even said in my last video that everything seemed pretty fine and dandy. But again, this is where the reviewer side of things come into play, and it really takes a while to notice all of the bugs. But from objects glitching out, to getting stuck, to people falling through floors, quest breaking, I've experienced my fair share of bugs already. And sure, some of them are funny, but when I have to reload 5 minutes of dialogue because the NPC I'm talking about suddenly decides they're busy, that's not fun. On top of that, a lot of people are saying that the game has amazing performance and it runs buttery smooth on PC, Xbox Series X, Xbox Series S. No matter what you're playing on, it's buttery smooth. But in reality, it runs shoddy on anything less than new. And my game has crashed to desktop quite a few times at random. So I'll say that I hate all the talk about how great and perfect the game runs, when in reality, just like any other Bethesda game, there's some glaring bugs. Though it is still the beginning of this infant's life, and I bet many fixes are to come. But I will say that I do agree with everyone saying this is one of the least buggiest and best performing Bethesda games, specifically. And that's something you cannot argue. This game runs better than Fallout 4 did, this game runs better than Skyrim did, and that's just a fact. Especially with the size of the game, the bugs are okay to me, in my opinion. Another thing that kind of upsets me is the bad PC performance was actually brought up by Toddy Boy, and his response was pretty much, buy a better PC. And you should not be upgrading for every new game. The PS4 and Xbox One had a lifespan of like 10 years. I think a 3 to 4, even 2, even my 1-year-old GPU should be able to handle it. And speaking of GPUs, I'm still confused why Bethesda did not put DLSS or even XeSS into the game, even though AMD said they were not stopping Bethesda and Microsoft, and it was fully their idea. But at least AMD is in the clear on that, and they did not abuse that side of the partnership. But honestly, as I said, this is a smaller point, and I'm gonna end the negativity there, because this video is about how great I actually realized Starfield is. And here we are, the end of this shorter but very much needed video. Honestly, I planned on releasing a Cyberpunk video today before Phantom Liberty comes out, talking about why I love the story of that game so much. And maybe I'll turn it into a short vid, maybe not. But after the release of that last Starfield video and playing it some more, I knew I had to rectify my claims and really set how I feel about Starfield straight. And now that we're at the end of the video, I really quickly just want to add in some random little things. First, I will say that I have never played Star Citizen, but I have watched my fair share of gameplay on that Forever Alpha game. And I think that Starfield is the closest thing that we will ever get to a solo Star Citizen experience, as I don't think their solo version will ever come out. But who knows? The other funny thing I found out was that when Starfield was actually in the first stages of its works, PlayStation went to Bethesda and they made plans together to make Starfield a PlayStation exclusive. Microsoft was not having that though after PlayStation already got Ghostwire and Deathloop, so they ended up making that big old acquisition that everybody knows about, and that even spawned some needless court cases. But hey, that is all just speculation. There is no way to know for sure if that is why Bethesda was purchased by Microsoft. But it is something to think about. What if Starfield joined the Bethesda PlayStation exclusive roster? But honestly, that's about it for this video. I know it was shorter than the usual Friday video breakdown, but as I said before, this video just needed to happen. And I needed to speak out on how honestly disappointed I feel with that last video and why I'm quickly falling in love with Starfield. But if you have anything else to add, or as usual, any suggestions, don't forget to throw what you're thinking down in the comments below. And as usual, share this video around, hit that like, and never forget to subscribe to stay up to date and keep the videos pumping. And if you like this video and want to support more like this, go ahead and check out a membership to my channel or my Patreon now for music news, early releases on music, extra vids, a schedule for every video in the given month, and your name at the end of every video. Check the links on screen in the description or in my channel links now. But as always, do not feel pressured, because if you are here doing all the things you find people already do, that is plenty. And if you found yourself bobbing your head at any of the music you heard in this video, definitely check out BillyTheWhip.com or just Billy the Whip on any music platform for some awesome new music. And now that we are here, for the misinformation I have shared, I give you a sorry and I grant you infinite great days. Now I'm gonna go play some Starfield. Peace!
God, this community is overreacting.